Welcome back to the channel. This week on the Kiwi Barefoot Gardener, I tackle the major task of clearing the veggie beds of all the bolted brassicas, etc. I also review a number of suggested footwear options instead of my normal jandals for around the front yard. Come potter with me in the garden. My name is Dawn and I am the Kiwi Barefoot Gardener. Good morning. Well, it's just morning. It was just coming up to lunchtime. And it is Sunday the 26th of October and I've just finished editing the vlog for this Sunday. So the 26th, it'll come out at 5. And I am desperately trying to sort out my back garden. It has got away bigly on me on the last couple of weeks. All my spring veg has literally just bolted. We couldn't eat it fast enough, unfortunately. So it's all gone to seed, all the brassicas. A lot of the onions have gone to seed, so a lot of spring onions. So all those are coming out. The leeks I need to pull. The carrots are putting out secondary growth, as is the parsnips. The broad beans, what's left of them, they are actually coming together, and I'll probably have to pick a few today. So that'll be quite good, but I do need to clear the rest of that. And I really want to try and get as much done today as possible because tomorrow, Monday the 27th, Labour Day, is meant to be another yuck day. We're meant to have potentially heavy rain, and they're talking about snow down to low levels on the hills, like the foothills, not locally. But that's going to make it quite cold, especially on the Tuesday. So I'm going to have to look at maybe frost clothing the greenhouse stuff, but I won't do that tonight. I'll probably do that tomorrow. I can sneak out into the greenhouse in the rain and do that, so that's not a biggie. But what I really want to do today, or this afternoon, is focus on clearing as much of the stuff as possible. I've, for a better word, conned one of the family members into doing the processing for me. I'm not sure how well that's going to go, but we'll do what we can, and if need be I can just bundle it all up and shove it in the fridge till tomorrow and do a lot of it tomorrow when it's raining and it's horrible. But yeah, so definitely need to get my skates on and get going. We'll have a quick look at how bad things are. I won't go through everything, but yeah, Lou's around here somewhere. He was literally all over my lap about 2 minutes ago before I started recording. He's desperate to have me out here. So yeah, let's get on with it and see how far I get. I'm planning to try and do it fairly methodically, bed by bed, but we'll see how it goes. If it gets too tough on one spot, I might go to the easier spots and leave the tougher spots till later. But one step at a time, let's get moving. So let's have a quick look at how it is. So immediately in front of me are the very late cabbages. As you can see, they've either got lots of bugs or they've bolted. There's one cabbage I should be able to harvest today. The middle bed, I'd already cleared this end of it. The far bed, you can see that there's lots of stuff that has gone or going to seed, so that's all got to come out there. And I'll just move the camera a minute, hang on. So you can see that all the silver beet's gone to seed, and behind it most of the brassicas I planted late, they've just literally bolted. They haven't even formed things, they've just gone straight to thing. And unfortunately all the red and green cabbages, well, there was only a couple of green cabbages, but all my red cabbages just split and bolted with the warm weather we've had over the last 2 weeks, and yeah, just gone. Even the spinach, which you can't see at the moment, I may be able to pick it back and get another few harvests out of it, but it's literally starting to bolt too. It is a winter version of spinach, so I've got new stuff to replace it with. So yeah, but anyway, let's get to it. So Lou's here, as you can see. soon as I sit down, he's on my knee. So I'm planning to compost all this. They're absolutely covered in the green grey aphid, which is a shame. And there's lots and lots of seed pods, but they're not yet mature, so hopefully I'll be okay with that, just going into the compost. And I've got one little cabbage there that I might be able to rescue for a bit of coleslaw tonight. So I will do some speedy, and in between I'll do a bit of talking as well. So, and just fill you in with what I'm doing and how I'm doing it. So got all that cleaned up, all the cabbage anyway, on this bed. I've managed to rescue a tiny wee bit of cabbage. It'll need a damn good wash. It's still covered in graphids, or green grey aphids I should say, rather than graphids. But anyway, I'll get a wee bit of something out of there, probably a wee bit of coleslaw for a couple of us. So not a total loss, so yeah, but onwards and upwards. So I've just moved over to along to the silver beet. So as you can see, it's all bolted, but I will salvage as much as possible as I can and use that over the next couple of days for meals. So let's go. So some people sort of comment, it's such a waste when veggies go unused for whatever reason and what have you. I mean, you can't control the weather, so you can't really control the bolting. And I plant enough so that, like silver beet, that I've got enough that I can harvest every couple of weeks over winter when growth is really slow. So yeah, there's more there than I need during the summer, but it's about the right amount that I need for the winter. So when I replant later this week or next weekend, I'll only be putting in like one row, probably about 3 silver beet plants, probably the pink one, the peppermint chard type one, because it grows so fast over summer. I don't need any more than that. It's the same with the spinach. I usually only plant about half of what I would from winter to summer, so I'll probably plant about 5, maybe 6 plants, whereas over winter I usually got about a dozen, because that I can only pick in a good winter every second week, and a really cold winter every third week. It's just the amount that you can get. But none of this is actually going to go to waste per se, because it all gets chopped up, and that's what I'm doing, chopping it up reasonably finely at the moment, because I'll pop it in my compost, and in time, 9 months or so, it should be back on the beds helping the next lot of veggies to grow. So it's not wasted, it's just turned into something different. It's just not eaten, which is the aim, but you can't always control what nature does. So I'm going to keep moving along here. You don't need to see me hacking all the way through there, and I will update you when I get to the parsnips, because that's going to be fun, and that might get put off to a day where I can get someone to give me a hand with a big fork and can get up on there and loosen them up for me. But we'll see. They might come out really quickly, I don't know. But I'll get rid of the rest of the silver beet. So it's around mid-afternoon now, and I don't seem to feel like I've got a long way, but I actually have. So I've cleared out one side of the silver beet. And then the family came and gave me a hand with the parsnips because, yeah, they were just huge. So they've helped me lift all the parsnips and the carrots on this bed and the end of the other bed. So that took us a good hour or more to clear all those. So that's quite good. So I've just got a few of these to go now, and I'll get these done, and then I'll head towards the middle bed and see how I go there. I want to try and get as much done today as I can, which is going against my normal of trying to pace myself, but tomorrow and Tuesday are meant to be yuck, so I want to try and get as much done. One of the other things too is the beds are really dry, even though I did give them water not so long ago, like less than about 4 days ago. But those nor'wests have just desiccated the soil. So with this rain that's coming, I'm hoping that if I can get the beds as cleared as possible, then that the rain will actually have a good chance to soak in, and then I'll put on the new compost after they've had a good soak. So that's my plan. Whether it works, who knows. But I'm going to keep motoring this way, and I'll bring you back later. Look what I found. I was just going past the strawberry bed, heading off from here to the compost bin, and I saw a glint of red. So, strawberries in October. Not bad. Definitely going to be my afternoon tea. Sorry. Yum. Super yummy. Gonna have this one as well. Nothing nicer, excuse my talking with my mouth full, nothing nicer than sun-ripe and sun-warmed strawberries straight from the garden. Yum. Excuse me. Oh, right, so that bed's done, completely cleared. Now I'll let it rain over the next few days, water it, then I'll put the compost on and it will be ready for planting out. And I've got plenty to put in it, so that's good. Right, my next chore is to tidy up the broad beans because they've been really thrashed. So I'm over by the broad beans and they're pretty munted. So some of them will be usable. I've got like one here, and feeling it, it feels like the pods have filled. So that's good, but you know, probably get a quarter of the crop that I was hoping to get, but you know, that's the way it goes. They've been bashed on both the southerly and the nor'west, so I'm going to tidy them up now and get rid of the rest of the brassicas that are just lurking in the background. And once I've done that, I'll bring you back. It's not much use recording at the moment too much because hubby's decided to trim one of the hedges, so the hedge thing's going. So I will bring you back once I've done. So Lou's come to visit me and see what I'm up to. So I have cleaned out the last of the brassicas and I have trimmed back a lot of the dead stuff off here. There's some good broad beans on there, but they're not all ready yet. Of course, the trick with the broad beans is that the pods might look good, like these ones, but you need to give them a quiet squish to actually see if they've filled. So broad beans tend to grow the pod and then the bean grows to fill the pod, whereas things like peas and other beans tend to grow in unison, the pod and things. But yeah, so I've just given everything a really good water because it was damn dry down there because it misses the southerly rain. The fence just shelters it enough, only the very front gets water. I see lots of new growth at the bottom, so I'm going to let these go for a bit longer. I normally grow my corn here, but I don't usually put it until about mid-November, and I usually sow it direct seed. I'm in two minds whether to do corn this year though, because the winds have been so bad. If they're going to be, you know, we're going to have strong winds all summer, which, you know, the potential's there. I might not bother growing corn this year. Yeah, it's not a necessity. It's one of those things that I enjoy, but I don't have to have it. I mean, the beans, the carrots, and other things like that, they're staples over winter. So what I might do is actually set this bed up to do lettuce this year. But what I'll do, because if I don't do it and we get a hot summer, the lettuce will cook here. So what I'll probably do is set up some steaks, 3 or 4 sets of steaks, and put some shade cloth over it so that I can roll it back and drop it on really hot days. So yeah, make a sort of little canopy for it, and then I can drop the side down on really hot days, and it will just break up the sun and just roll it back, and it can just sit at the top. I've got the vision in my mind. How practical it's going to be, I don't know. We'll try it. But yeah, I think I'll probably grow my lettuce here this year, and I might even grow a wee bit of summer broccoli, because that doesn't do well in my garden either, because it's just too damn hot in the summer because it's full sun, there's no shade except for along where the gooseberries and things are. So anyway, I've got a few beans, and I'm going to keep moving along. It's almost 4 o'clock, but I'm not feeling too tired, so I might just have another go at another bed and keep moving along and see how much progress I make. This is the broccoli that we trimmed back and tidied up about 3-4 weeks ago. It hasn't really done much. This one just went straight to seed. It was borderline at the time. And these, they've put out some heads, but they just literally bolt and go straight to this sort of thing. So I'm just lifting it. We put the compost in this at the time, and this is where my tomatoes normally go. So my outside tomatoes are basically ready. It's a wee bit early, but I'll probably put them in next weekend. We due a cold snap Monday and definitely Tuesday. They're talking about it only being 8 degrees during the day. So I think after that it should be good though. And I'll pop in my tomatoes, my outside. So I'll have probably about 3 Roma along here. I can fit in about 6 at a squeeze. So I'll get 3 Roma, and I'll probably put 3 Money Maker in if I've got 3 left. But definitely 3 Roma, because I like them to do my passata and things for the winter, for the sauces and things. So yeah. So I'm going to clean the rest of this out now, and then actually I think after that I might call it a day. Not sure what tomorrow is going to be. The weather forecast sort of says it's going to rain for morning, but looking at other bits it doesn't look like it's going to pick up to the afternoon. So I'll see, but I've got lots of watering to do in the greenhouse and other places, so I'll probably potter around there and catch up with you again probably on Wednesday and see how much more of this we can get done, so I can do a big planting blitz. Thursday's out because I've got other things I've got to do, so if I can get Wednesday and Friday and get the rest of this done and even start planting, I'll be really pleased. So catch you again on Wednesday afternoon. Well, it is Wednesday the 29th, and the weather has finally improved. It was cold here this morning. They had sort of thought maybe frosty, but it actually still rained, and we got a wee bit of hail even. And I wasn't sure if it was going to be warm enough to be out here today. So it's just after lunch, and while the wind is still from the south, it's nowhere near as ferocious as it was first thing this morning. So it's reasonably pleasant out here. The sun's got a nice bit of warmth to it, and while the breeze is cool, it's not freezing. So I've come out to keep ploughing my way through tidying up the veggie beds ready for me to plant this coming weekend. Yeah, so I'm just going to really get on with it and chat to you when it's required, sort of thing. So I'm on the middle of the 3 long beds, and I have removed the carrots from the far end, and there was a few parsnips. They've all gone. This end is cleared anyway. I can't remember what was down there. I think some brassicas, but I know what was. Yes, the Swede and what have you. So they were cleared ages ago. Got a few things in here that are basically past their use by date, and there are some leeks there that I need to pull and use. So I'll just work my way along here in the next hour or so and see how I go. Well, let's that be clear. It took me about an hour and a half with a few distractions, etc., and a good part of my audiobook. So I have cleared out all the stuffed brassicas, and I have got a big tray of leeks to process tonight and get them all sorted. So that's good. I got the leeks just at the right time. They were just starting to get black fly, and also they were just starting to put out those little shoots, so they were just in the thought about bolting, so quite pleased about that. I'll just chop them up, well, most of them I'll just chop up and I'll freeze, and I'll use them for quiches and things like that over the summer, so pretty pleased with that. So now I'm going to go on to the third bed, and I'll show it to you in a second. It's going to take a bit more. The third bed's got my garlic in it, and unfortunately it looks like my garlic's got rust, so it's a nuisance. I had to pull my garlic early last time around because it had rust. I pulled it, I think, around about beginning of December instead of near Christmas. But I got really, really good sized bulbs. I also planted my garlic a bit earlier this time around, so I'm hoping that maybe it's bulbed up enough with the warm weather we've had that I can see if I can get it to go through till beginning of December, late November, before I pull it. This bed with the garlic in will have my pumpkins in eventually. That's why I put the garlic on either side, so that I could put the pumpkins in the middle and let them grow out, but we'll just have to see. But unfortunately, as I'd indicated earlier, all my cabbages bolted, and they are just a sea of flowers at the moment. So I'll turn the camera around and have a look at them, because the bees are just loving it. It's just a cacophony of buzzing at the moment. So this was my cabbage patch. It's got away on me, and there's loads of weeds and what have you, but look at this. There's bumbles everywhere, as well as bees, honeybees. So I do feel a bit mean by cutting it all down. However, just behind on the other side is my backyard flower bed, and all the flowers are coming out on that, so there's going to be plenty for the bees to go to, so they're not going to miss out on that. And in the next week or two, but I need to just go back down and check, I think the flowers for the gooseberries and the black currants will be out, so they'll have those as well. So plenty to do. So I'm just going to start working my way through here. We might do a bit of speedy, and then see how far I get on this. The wind's dropped now, and it is beautiful out here. There's just a gentle breeze, but I don't want to cook, so I'll just have to watch that. Louis's been in and out, checking everything out and making himself at home in unwanted ways, but anyway, we'll get on with it. So it's about 4 o'clock. The easterlies got up, unfortunately, otherwise I'd still be going, but I have managed to spend some time sorting out the leeks. Unfortunately, some of them have bolted, so I'm going to have to cut them down the middle and take the hard core out and just use the outer bits of them. But still they'll make good quiches and things like that once they've been cooked up. And if I freeze them in little bags, they'll just be right. So I'm going to give it up for today. Tomorrow I'm going to be out and about, so won't be doing a lot of gardening, just a bit of watering and things like that. But Friday is meant to be good, so I'm going to try and get out and finish the back garden as far as clearing all the stuff's concerned. The next thing I've got to do after I've cleared everything is to compost, pop mulch down or put the compost down. I've got about half a dozen bags of stuff that I bagged up from my compost, and then if need be I've also got a few bags of bought stuff, so get that all in, and then the weekend come Saturday I should be able to start getting all my veggies in and things like that. I've been thinking a bit more about my for a better word, lettuce shelter, and I think I probably will do that. I probably won't put corn in this year, and I'll just put some lettuces there and grow them and pop that wee sort of shelter up so that I can prevent them from cooking, because I've got a feeling this is going to be a really hot summer, and there's nothing nicer than being able to nip out and grab your own lettuce and to get together a salad. So yeah, that's my plan. So I will catch up with you probably Friday, and then we'll do a coffee and chat at some stage around that time too. It's Friday the 31st of October, it's about 2 o'clock in the afternoon, and I finally got back to the outside and back to where I was on Wednesday. I've cleaned out some of the brassicas, but I've still got plenty to go. So my aim for this afternoon is to finish clearing out everything I need to clear out of this bed, except for the garlic, and there is also the winter spinach just behind where the camera is at the moment. That needs to go. It's starting to bolt. Once I've done that, I've got a whole lot of compost sitting ready to go onto the beds, with the 2 big beds that I've already done, and I'm going to give them good water before I put the stuff in. So that's my aim for this afternoon. It's taken me 3 days to get this far. It shouldn't have, but I keep getting interrupted or not having full run at doing it. But yeah, it is what it is. Just looking at the garlic, it is a bit sad to see all the rust on it, but that's, one of those things that happens to it. And as I said the other day, I think it was Wednesday, if I can get it through to end of November, early December, I'll be happy. If I can't, well, it is what it is. So I'm just going to keep working away at this, and once I'm done, I'll bring you back and we'll have a look at what's next. So it's just coming up to 4 o'clock. I've got all the brassicas out, and I've been through the leeks, and I'm just getting into the spring onions now. It's clouded over and there's the southerly blowing, so it's actually getting quite cold out here, so I'm thinking of packing it up and going in for the day. But yeah, pretty happy with where I got. Didn't get the compost and the bed sorted, but that's okay, a couple of steps at a time. I've had a wee visitor, not the cats this time. It's the local blackbird who pops around, and he comes right up to me. He's like literally within arm's reach, and he's collecting his worms and things like that, so he seems quite happy. So the leeks here, because I had some in the other bed, leeks here got worse black fly than the ones over there did, which is a shame. And as you can see probably, the spring onions have all going to flower, which the bees have been really pleased with, but I have managed to get some that didn't, but they've also got rust. This garlic here just behind the onions has got worse rust than the stuff down the far end, so we'll just have to see how it goes. Interestingly, the pots that I did, so the pot I did way back, I think in the 2nd or 3rd vlog, that's doing really well. It's got a touch of rust, but not much. And the wee experiment that we did with the tiddly bits of garlic that were left over from when I broke the bulb up, that pot's doing quite well as well. So we're not going to be short of garlic. It just depends on how well the bulbs will actually form and mature. Last year I got a really, really good crop, but the year before I got a poor crop. But saying that, I was still able to rescue quite a lot out of it, and all I did with it was I munched it up, put it through the blender, and I made garlic pucks out of it and froze them. And then once they were frozen, I just popped them into a container. And because garlic in the freezer stinks like hell, I just double bagged it and wrapped it in tin foil, and it worked really well. It stops the stink. So I'm really pleased with that. So I've processed most of the leeks that I did the other day. So I've just got a few more, which I'll probably actually use fresh. Might make a quiche or something this weekend, see how things go. But yeah, so I'm pretty pleased with that. Once I've got this stuff, which I'll probably do this weekend, is get it mulched and watered and what have you. I've actually got a wheelbarrow full of plants ready to go in, so I'll start getting them in, and we'll look at that next vlog. Along the side here, which you probably can't see, is my currants and my gooseberries, and looking at it, that needs a damn good tidy up. It's just with the rain and the warm weather, the weeds have exploded. The other thing that's really good though is my grapevine has taken off, which is great. So I think there's a few things I might need to tie in there, but generally I'm quite happy with it. So I'm going to leave it here now for today, and we'll catch up for a coffee and a chat probably tomorrow morning on Saturday, and we'll wind up the vlog for this week, and yeah, go on to next week where we get lots of planting done, I hope. Yeah, so I'm really looking forward to that. I'm still trying to get out and about, because I had planned for the weekend that I'd had the fall, we were going to go out and visit a local garden, but that hasn't happened, and next week's looking particularly busy, but really do want to get to a local park that's only about 10 minutes away from here, and the rhodos and the azaleas and what have you are meant to be all out. So just depending on how things pan out, I'll see if I can get there this week. Might be able to make a bit of a detour on one of my outings and do that. But yeah, pretty pleased with this week. This is all healed too, so that's good. Concussions and symptoms are basically done and did, so I'm quite pleased with that. Hopefully it will be no reoccurring stuff later. And I just have to be more mindful and look where I'm going. But catch you next week. Well, no, catch you for coffee tomorrow. So I was just going to catch up with you shoes. Okay, so many of you will know that I had a fall about 3 weeks ago. 3 weeks ago yesterday, and thankfully everything's healed up and I've got no lasting issues with concussion or anything that I know of. So one of the things that contributed but didn't actually cause the fall was the fact that I was wearing jandals. I actually tripped on the hose. I was not being mindful at the time, and I now remember that I caught my right foot and went down because of that. But I was wearing jandals, and of course when I went to try and save myself, the jandals were an impediment on that. So I normally wear bare feet out the back of the garden. It's all grass and what have you, but the front of the house around the driveway is concrete, but it's exposed aggregate concrete, and we had asked when we built the place that the stones be nice and soft roundish ones, because we'd had an issue at our previous place when we had to get the drive replaced post-quake, that they'd put in some really rough sharp aggregate, but it didn't happen. We ended up with still fairly sharp stuff. Now, I got really tough feet because I'm in bare feet most of the time, but after a couple of hours of walking out on that, it can be a bit sore and tender on my feet. So I was wearing jandals when I was working out there, but now to add to trying to prevent a further fall, I'm looking at some alternatives. And what I did was, as some of you will know, I am one of the long-term admins on New Zealand Gardening on a Budget, which is a Facebook group. It does have a public-facing page, but it's a private Facebook group that you apply for membership for by answering a few questions, that's all. And I asked on there, And I got an amazing response. I was really chuffed with all the responses. So I thought actually what I'd do is I review some of the responses and share them here with you. Now, while I'm sharing the stuff, I'm not actually endorsing any of it because I haven't tried any of it, but it's something I got on my computer that I'm looking at ordering something to keep my feet from getting too sore while I'm out doing watering or other things that I do. My greenhouse is actually on a concrete pad that was there originally when we built the place because it had the trailer on, but subsequently we got rid of the trailer and it was the perfect place for my greenhouse. So yeah, it's important that I've got something that is safe and that does not contribute to a fall. One of the other things before I get into the actual shoes bit is that I do have a bit of a wobble because of my back, and it's important that you realise your lack of steadiness, for a better word. And there are a number of programs that you can get online to actually help with increasing your stability. And I have referred many people over the years when I was working as a nurse to those. So yeah, you can Google them, New Zealand programs, look for ones that are run by things like local hospitals or Ministry of Health or things like that. Definitely ones that are run by physios. Just be careful of the sham ones because they're always pushing them on YouTube, Facebook, all those other social media platforms. Just get one that is actually a certified one that is going to work for you. So out of all the replies that I got for my post, and I got around about 150, there were two ones that were indicated the most. One of them was Crocs, and the other one was a good pair of short gumboots, so ankle gumboots, and of course gumboots in general were put forward. For me, I need something that I can slip on easy. I recognise I need a back strap. Gumboots don't work well for me, and I find them really uncomfortable because I've got weird feet. I've got really wide feet. I've got a high instep, so the front top of my foot comes up really high, and I've got a weird arch underneath. I've found getting shoes all my life difficult. So buying online for me for shoes is almost impossible. I actually have to go in and get them, put them on my feet to make sure that they actually fit adequately. So for this, I need something I can slip on, because bending down and tying shoelaces for me is difficult, but it needs to have the back strap, it needs to be flat, and it needs to be able to fit my weird feet. So Crocs is an option, and I'm going to look at that. Probably gumboots, no. Even the lovely little short ankle versions that you can get and covered in flowers and things like that. So there's many of those that you can get from different online places. I'm just looking at the moment, I might just try some cheap Crocs to start with, and then if they are the sort of thing that I want, look for, I'll get a better pair later. Another shoe that was indicated was a sandal type thing, and I think they're called Tavers Hurricane Drifts. They looked good online, but they are over $100. So while I'm told from the people that posted, and more than one person posted about it, that they last forever and things like that, they would be an option that I'd have to actually go and get fitted, which isn't a problem. I just need to get my A into G and get into town and do that. But yeah, that's one that I may actually look at a later date if the Crocs don't work. One that won't work for me because it's more a shoe, more a closed shoe, but looked really good, was something called a slogger. And it's a waterproof thing from Gubba, Gubba. They're an online shop for gardening in New Zealand. So they looked interesting, and I think they would work really well for a lot of people, just not me. Another one that was suggested was a keen sandal, which I did look at, keen as in K-E-E-N sandal, and they looked really nice, and they would look like they probably fit my weird feet. They are expensive though, they're well over $200. So that would be something that I would have to think about. Yes, I know safety shouldn't cost you, money shouldn't be an issue for safety, but I have to be sensible too because I have a limited budget. Another one that was suggested was something called an Archie slide, but they looked a bit too much like jandals, even though they did have arch supports and things like that. I just felt that for me they might be too much of the jandal type thing and cause further issues. There are the Skechers sandals, and I do actually have Skechers as in a slip-on shoe. I think it's a Go Walk shoe, which I find incredibly comfortable. Unfortunately, the ones I've got currently are canvas, so they're no good for doing the watering and things like that. But I may look into the sandals, especially around Christmas, New Year, because if I remember rightly, Skechers often have a sale over that time. So that might be something I put on my calendar to do in the new year, and in the meantime, explore not clogs. Why am I stuck on clogs? Crocs. I've got to keep thinking alligator, Crocs. There was a suggestion of something like reef shoes or scuba shoes or something like that with the neoprene type stuff. I did look at them, but they are reasonably expensive for what they are and probably not designed for what I want, but they could be something to look at in the future. One of the other things that I thought about and was suggested by one person was the good old-fashioned white tennis shoe, which I don't seem to be able to find anything online about anymore. Got a feeling I used to get them from somewhere like Para, and I actually used to wear them for work because they were nice and light, and because in those days we had to wear white shoes, they worked really well and they'd go through the washing machine. However, some years ago I had to stop wearing them because they didn't give my feet enough support, and I ended up with a strangely pathological fracture of one of my bones of my foot, which was really weird. But yeah, so then I started wearing more supportive shoes with cushion stuff, but yeah, I can't fit into half those things now. Other suggestions were boonies, but they're more a gumboot and I can't really fit into those. And I did look at boonies or something very similar several years ago, 10 years ago now, when we went away on holiday overseas, where we were going to be tramping through huge amounts of water and stuff in North America, and I couldn't get one to fit my foot then. So the other ones were suggested were Birkenstocks, and they are way out of my budget. They look lovely and probably would do the job, but yeah, just way out of my budget. There is also something similar to the old Butter Bullet white tennis shoe sort of thing at Kmart, which is a slip-on one, but they're all synthetic and I'm not quite sure how good the sole is, but they're cheap as chips. I think I might grab a pair just to see, and I'll grab a pair of Crocs too and just try them out. They may absolutely be no good, but they aren't really, really expensive. So I'm going to try them. We'll have a look at them when I get them and we'll go from there. So that was a really quick review of all the stuff that I got off the Facebook posts that I did, and I really appreciated everyone's answers and suggestions, and I'm going to explore that more and we'll refer to it a bit more later on as I get those things and we look at it more. It's actually Saturday morning, well, almost afternoon, looking at the clock over there. I was going to sit outside and do the coffee and chat, but it's an easterly out there, it's cloudy, and it has even tried to drizzle over me. So I decided not, but I will try and remember to pop a wee picture of the arbour, because the rose is in full flower over it at the moment and it's gorgeous. So I will post that in here somewhere so you can see it. But with the coffee and chat today, I'm halfway through my coffee already, I thought we'd have a look at what I'd been up to over the week. So my main objective was to try and get those big raised beds out the back of the house clear, and it took me a lot longer than I anticipated it would. Some of that was due to getting interrupted all the time, having other things I needed to do, but also just cutting everything up because I wanted it chopped up reasonably fine so that I could put it in the compost bins, and I have filled the compost bins. I filled one that I started ages ago, well, not that long ago, a few weeks ago, that was completely empty that I had turned. That's chocker to the top. And I bit the bullet and started filling up the top of the other one that was down to about half, and that was almost due to be turned. So I'm going to have to actually probably lift the top bit off so that I can turn it in. I should have done it over the week, but I just didn't have time. So I just threw the stuff on top. Not the best, but yeah, you can't always have what you want. So with clearing all that, I ran into a heap of green-grey aphids, just everywhere. It's the worst year I've ever seen them. And the leeks had a really nasty dose of black fly. So I can see that this summer might be a insect battling season, but you get the warmth, you get the insects. As I indicated also, my garlic's got rust, as did some of the other alliums, my spring onions and what have you. I'm going to try and get the garlic through till for another month, and then maybe lift it at the beginning of December. A bit like I did last year, but the garlic's actually been in the ground for probably another 4 to 6 weeks earlier than I planted it previously, so it'll hopefully had more time. And that was one of the reasons why I did it, was because of the rust, so fingers crossed. So we're coming up to the 25th vlog. This will be the 24th, so next week's vlog will be the 25th. So it's amazing. I've had really good subscriptions lately. Really thankful for all you that have subscribed. If you haven't subscribed yet, it's free to do so. I'd love you to be able to join the group and see what goes on, and you'll get notifications of when new videos have come out. Also, it would be amazing if you could share it with your friends and family so that they could also subscribe and boost the numbers. I'm hoping to get to 1,000 subs by next week. Don't know, but we'll, live and hope. It would be great because that was the first of my 2 milestones to getting towards monetization. And as I've indicated previously, monetization would help me to develop the channel and also be able to fund checking out other people's gardens and things like that. A lot of the public gardens, while they're public, they are privately owned, but they charge to go in, etc. So, and then there's the travel. So it would be amazing to be able to have that wee bit of money to be able to go and do that. To celebrate next week's 25th vlog, I'm going to do a couple of prizes, well, giveaways more than prizes, and I'll tell you more about that next week. I have to be careful to follow YouTube's rules about that. So I will announce them next week, and I will then say who's got the giveaways on vlog 26, which will be my 6-month point. So yeah, it'll work out quite well. So I better get on and finish my coffee, and then hopefully the weather will improve and I can get back outside and do a bit more either out in the back garden if it's too cold out the front. I've got some stuff to do in the greenhouse as well, so I just need to get a move on. So until next week's vlog, I'd like to wish you a happy and safe week, and it's bye from me. bye.